Hello, everybody. I am once again in my hotel room in Romania prepping for TI10, and I am giving you my fantasy predictions at the last fucking possible second. We have, I believe, about 20 hours until, 16 and a half hours until you can't submit these anymore. It looks like fantasy can go a little bit later, but let me give you a broad overview of TI Fantasy. I do not play fantasy during the year, but TI I always play fantasy, and there's a lot of benefits for it right now because for everybody, you get to unlock these lineage treasures if you get levels here, and you can't buy these. The only way you can get them is by doing things like fantasy, accomplish, or doing some of these tasks like voting for a film in the short film contest, or filling out your bracket predictions. I just made a predictions video. If you guys want to check that out, you need to check it out right now. If you're coming here a day late, it is too late. You've missed that. But even if you miss the first day of fantasy, you can still play because the way that it works is that you get points if you get like globally top 10% in the world or something. So if you're top 10, you get 800 compendium points. And oh, I'm sorry, that's the end of each day. Oh, that's cool. So if you do top 10% every day, you get 800 points. That's a lot, actually. That's almost a full level. So if you literally just like pick, all right, guys, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. If you literally just put 5 warm card bodies in every slot on every day, you will guarantee basically that you get at least like 200 compendium points per day. It's really fucking easy to get top 50%. Every time that I do fantasy, I get like top 3% guaranteed. So if you're like smart or good at fantasy, you will get guaranteed like 800 compendium points. Maybe not 800 per day, but like pretty much guaranteed 400 per day. Because there's some people that go in here and they put like 2 cards in, and those get added to all the instead of 5, and they get added, or they like run players that aren't playing that day, for example, and they get really shitty points. So with that in mind, you guys should certainly play fantasy. I think it's really fun. The way that it works is you have to put a card in for every roll, and the amount of points that you get is based on some of these factors: points per kill. If you die 0 times, you get 3 points, but if you die 10 times, you get 0 points for death. So there's things like these. Generally, the highest scoring points are for observer wards placed. Camp stack should be really big this year because people stack a lot of camps. So observer wards, camp stacked. First bloods kind of help, but they're random, so you shouldn't generally play for it. Sometimes stuns are worth a lot of points, but usually not. Team fight participation percentage is usually helpful. You can't see any of this shit, can you? Kills, deaths, Tower last hits, Roshan last hits, kind of random for Roshan. 4 points for kills. Observer wards, camp stacked are a lot. Stuns can matter, and team fight participation over the long term usually matters a lot. But with that in mind, what the most valuable thing that you can do is pick players on teams that are going to play the most games. Because the way that it works is you are getting scored for, I believe, how many fantasy points they get in maximum 2 games of each series for maximum 2 series. So if a team only plays 1 series in a day, you do not want to pick them because they're only going to have minimum 2 games to score, basically. So what you want to do is you want to cheat a little bit and you want to steal Reddit information from this guy who posted this on the subreddit. So this shows group stage. For the group stage, this is the amount of games that each team is playing. So if we look at the very bottom, teams with the most number of matches every day is Alliance, EG, IG, OG, Undying, and VP. So for day 1, you want to pick players from those teams. For day 2, you want to pick Elephant, Fnatic. It's spelled Fanatic, but it's Fnatic, Quincy Crew, SG Gaming, Secret, and Vici Gaming. And then you want to pick Alliance, EG. So those are the players that you want to pick, whose player cards you want to pick for each day. Generally, you should not care about the color of your card. If you pick commons, if you pick the best possible common card every single day in fantasy, you will blow away anybody else that has good gold cards. Picking the right cards is more important than picking fantasy percentages. I don't have all the player cards this year. I spent a little bit of money on team packs, but generally I have most cards. I do not have Quinn, for example, but if I really want to fill in like all of these cards, then I will. I don't have Sumail, which is really bad because Sumail usually scores quite well. So depending on what I want to pick for today, I might end up buying some cards. But this is a sheet that we're going to look at. So Alliance, EG, IG, OG, Undying, and VP. And here's the other thing to consider. Usually I use Liquipedia for this, but you want to figure out which of these 6 teams, who are they playing? You usually don't want to pick the best teams. If you pick the best teams by far, like the number one seed teams in group stage, it's not good because they almost always win their games, which is good, but they usually win their games too fast on average. You want to pick the teams that are like the quarter two. You don't want to necessarily pick like the best 25% teams. You usually want to pick like the 25 to 50% teams or somewhere in there, more like the 85 to like 75% best teams. Those teams are going to pretty likely win, and winning teams get more fantasy points, but you want the games to go long because the longer games are going to produce more kills, produce more observer rewards placed, there's going to be more stacks, there's going to be more stun duration, more GPM, all that stuff. So you want to pick teams that are going to have longer drawn out games, and it doesn't always have to be, I would say that 85 to 75 is inaccurate. I would say genuinely like the 50 to 75. You want to pick the teams that are likely to get like 8th to like 6th place, 8th to 4th place, somewhere in there usually, because they're less likely to. You don't want to pick the bad teams because the bad teams are more likely to get stomped or to lose in 0-2s. And the other reason you want teams that are closer, because you want the series to always go 3 games. Because sometimes you have a game where, like, I remember this one time I picked Ice because he was like on average scored a lot of fantasy points, and they picked him Omni Knight. This was like 5 years ago. They picked him Omni Knight, and Omni Knight does not collect a lot of stats. Like, he doesn't collect a lot of fantasy points. He doesn't get very many kills. He just like he had like kind of a bad game, and he was playing Omni Knight, so his fantasy points were like atrocious for the day, and I've never forgot that. So I don't remember if he played 3 games in that series or not, but like if he plays a third game after losing that Omni Knight game, I know that third game he's probably not going to play Omni Knight. He's probably going to score good fantasy points, and then they're going to take points from the first and the third game instead of that Omni game in the middle that he lost. So that's why you want to pick teams that are likely to play 3 series. So with that said, I am now going to open my web browser, and I'm going to go over to the TI10 group stage and go take a look at who these teams are playing. So if I look at that list once again, EG is likely to get top 4. IG could do top 4 for sure. OG has a chance, but it's less likely that OG gets top 4. Undying is expected to be a bottom 6 team. Virtus Pro could get top 4, but it's more likely to get like middle of the pack, upper middle of the pack, but they were kind of inconsistent on lands, so I don't necessarily have faith. Alliance is expected to be top or bottom 8, most likely. So I would say of those, EG is likely the best on here. So it's a little dangerous to pick them. Their games end up going a little quicker on average from what Lemur said when I talked to him for the predictions video. So probably don't want to pick any EG players. I think I have really good EG cards actually. I could pick, so let's see, I'm going to look at IG and OG and VP to see who they're playing. I think those sound like the best ones. So of the games tomorrow, IG's playing T1, which should be a pretty good series. T1's pretty good. IG plays Undying, which is likely to be semi-one-sided, and IG's playing EG, which actually could be a really good series. So I would say IG looks like a pretty good fantasy selection for tomorrow. Those are like the Undying matchup is likely to be a little bit one-sided, but I can't remember if you get points for all 3 series or not, or if it's just like they take the best 2. Let me go look at the rules. Compendium points. Highest scoring 2 games of a best of 3 count towards a player's score, and the highest scoring 3 games of a best of 5. Okay, so if you're playing 3 series, you absolutely have to pick one of those teams. If you pick a team that only plays 2 series, you're losing out on 30% of the points. And that's where a lot of the people put a couple cards in and fuck up, because they're just putting minimal effort in. It's very easy to get top half, like extremely easy. So the best 2 games of a best of 3. So you want to pick teams for sure, ideally, that go for 3 games. Like I said, IG plays T1. They play Undying. I think they will likely 2-0 Undying. Not that Undying's terrible at all, but I could see IG crushing. And IG is playing EG, which could be a 3-game series or could be a convincing 2-game. So I'm not so sure about IG. And then I said OG. OG's playing Alliance. OG is playing Thunder Predator. OG is playing VP. Thunder Predator should be an OG win. The VP series could go both ways. And OG against Alliance. Alliance has consistently been beating EU teams in DPC. They've done quite well in DPC both seasons, but you could easily argue they choked on both LAN performances, and it's OG Magic. And Season 1 DPC, OG didn't have Sumail. Season 2 DPC, I can't remember if Sumail was there for their match, but I think Sumail is very good. He's a very talented player. excuse me, very talented player, and I could see OG potentially doing very good this TI. So with that said, I think OG is okay to draw player cards from. Especially because Sumail's on there, and Sumail's traditionally a very, very high score. So if I want to go for OG, I'm definitely going to want to draw those cards. Again, it's Alliance, Thunder Predator, who's likely to be weak and probably will be a 2-0, but you never know, and VP. So I like OG in terms of fantasy picks here. And then the last one is VP was the other one I was thinking about. And VP plays Undying, and they play Alliance, and they play OG. So because Alliance could be... Alliance is unsure, but likely weaker than VP. Undying is almost for sure weaker than VP, and OG could be weaker, could be better. I would say that that sounds like more of a gamble. I guess it's not that different from like OG and Alliance, but I would argue that OG and Alliance is probably closer. I feel pretty comfortable picking OG heroes or OG players. You can also like do a mix of both. Like for example, I could like I think it's pretty safe to put Sumail on because I think OG is like a decent team to pick from. Speaking of which, did I not have Sumail? I think I didn't have Sumail, right? That's what I just said earlier. Yeah, I'm missing Soxa as well, so I'm going to have to fix that. No-Tail's the 5, so he's going to generally place more wards, but teams do place more wards across all roles now that they're 0 gold. So what I need to do right now is go to here. I need to turn this off, and I'm going to have to give OG money on stream very briefly. So let's go here, purchase some packs. I'm going to start with 2 packs. This guarantees that the silver card you get or the gold potentially are both OG players. And so sometimes you do have to spend money. If you didn't buy team packs like me, then you will have to buy some packs here if you truly want to like play with. And you don't have to, like you can still win, but this card is pretty mediocre. GPM is basically useless on supports. Stuns can be good, and Obsword Place is actually good, but it's only 5%, so that's a little weak. Anyways, I did not get any more, but I can open one more, and then I have to do some recycling. I'll probably pause these in a second. I got another No-Tail. This one's not bad. 25 team fight, 5 deaths, 5 stuns. That's pretty good. It's probably not better than the Obs one, though, I would assume. I have like freaking 3 No-Tail cards, all silvers. 20% kills, 20% runes grab. This one's kind of cool. With that said, I can't help but assume that the Obs wards by 5% is still better. But 20% kills? 20% runes grabbed? Usually the 4 grabs runes more than the 5 though. So maybe runes grabbed is a bit weak. Teamfight 25% doesn't look bad either. But maximum that's going to get me like 0.75 points a game because it's maximum 3 points. This one's probably the weakest, I would assume. But that is over like all games. 0.75 points. That's not that bad. For Obs wards to be good, like you can score like a shitload on Obs wards, like a buttload. You can get like 20-30 points from Obs wards, in which case 5% would be 10% is like 2 to 3. So that would be like 1.5 to 2. I can't help but assume that this one's just better because it's Obs wards. GPM is basically worthless, like legitimately, basically you get like a quarter of a point, half a point GPM per game, so 15% is like literally nothing. But it's a 25, it's very appealing, and this one's really sick numbers too. If No-Tail gets kills, every kill is like 0.3 points or something, so that would give you an extra, you know, 0.06 or something, 10%, yeah. Which is okay. I think this one just like, I get this one's factually probably better, but I'm going to recycle it because the numbers hurt me too much. They just hurt me too much, guys. Anyways, so this is basically what you need to do to get all your cards. I'm going to pause this video really quick while I make sure that I get Sumail. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright, small addendum here. I got a gold No-Tail, but this one's actually worse than my silver card. Because if you take a look at it, kills is not the best stat necessarily, but runes grabbed is 20, stuns is 10. If you look over here, Roshan kills is 15. That's basically useless on supports. They rarely take Roshan kill, though it can happen. Runes grabbed is weaker. GPM is the useless stat. 5% first blood is super low chance and random, and this is like literally 0.2 points if he gets a first blood, and then stuns is weaker. So the gold is actually worse, so it's worth taking the dust from the gold. even though the colors are pretty. Still haven't got my card back to the grind. Guys, I just bought like 10 OG packs because I literally could not get Sumail, and I just was about to craft these basic cards, and then I just saw this craft specific card button that I'm abso-freaking-lutely going to take advantage of, because if you look through this whole thing, there's only like 3 players I still don't have, and it's like quite possibly one of the most important ones. So I'm going to go over here and craft myself a Sumail. It gave me a silver. Oh, I don't know. It gave me a silver. That's pretty sick. Alright, cool. I'm not upset. If it was just a gold or if it was a brown, I would have lived with it. Camp stack 25% is pretty cool. And that is very likely one of the players I'm playing tomorrow. So, as you can tell, I have gotten some cards. Now, if you don't spend extra money, it's going to be hard to hit your top fantasy, I suppose. I thought about this more while I was opening packs. I'm like, I probably spent like $15, I feel like, on packs, if not closer to 20. Something like that. So I guess you'd have to spend money to get more levels. So in a way, you do have to spend money to get the compendium levels, unless you bought team packs before, which I did not, so I didn't have as many packs. But yeah, okay, so I'm going to pick Sumail, and the other teams that I was talking about were VP, potentially, or IG. Again, if I talked about VP, it was VP Alliance, VP Undying, VP OG. So I feel a little bit weaker about VP, potentially. I feel like GPK is like an insane player, so maybe he's a pretty safe pick, but again, if these games go a little one-sided, I'm not sure. IG's playing EG, they play Undying, and they play T1. T1, I think I mentioned, plays pretty long games, so I'm comfortable picking an IG player. I don't know which one scores necessarily the best. I haven't checked the fantasy websites just yet, but let's do this to make it a little bit more straightforward. Invictus Gaming. So my options are Fly and JT. Am I missing an IG player? Is that one of the ones I'm missing? Wait. Oh, there's a mid column. I see. Don't pick offlanes, guys, almost ever. Offlane players are not a good pick. Usually it's better to pick 2 mids, is usually what you do, but this way you're kind of forced to pick like core offlane. Offlane players are typically worse because they typically don't get as many fantasy points typically. So Fly is a safer pick here than JT. JT's a great player, like he's a super good player, but I would argue that the carries on average are going to get way more net worth, and therefore kills and stuff like that than offlaners. Offlaners tend to struggle a little bit more, but again, JT is quite good, and he's seen as like the anchor of the team. So I don't know, maybe I'm gonna be wrong, and could be JT that gets it. All right, mid players now. I got some pretty sick Topson cards. I have a fucking insane Abed one. I mean, it's like equally amazing as Topson, I guess, but 20. You usually want kills on these players that do it insanely well. So 20% kill bonus, 15 death bonus, team fight. Roshan kills is a little weak, but not the worst, and camp stacked is also quite good. Again, camp stacked is a lot. It's like half a point per camp stack. So if you just do a double stack, you scored yourself a fantasy point, baby. And there's a lot of people that double stack. Like everybody double stacks right now. So I could definitely see some supports. In some ways, the 4. I feel like 4s double stack a little bit more than 5s typically, but not always. So, anyways, I want to pick a mid on one of the teams I was talking about. I could pick Topson. For a mid, I could pick Emo for a mid as an option. I could pick GPK potentially over here, but he's a brown card, and again, I assume their games are going to go a little bit more one-sided. So I'm going to go with Topson, even though he does die tactically a little bit. He's always going to place like 1 ward per game. I feel like Topson's an okay pick here, because again, I expect them to be about middle of the pack. I gotta double check who EG's playing, because the Abed card I have is so good. They play Aster, they play IG, and they play T1. Why am I not doing EG? That looks really good, honestly. Those are like all teams that could be very competitive with them. Alright, I'm gonna put Abed in here, because my Abed card's so good and the dude's like insanely good. So I feel like he's very likely to perform well. Arteezy typically scores pretty darn high in fantasy. Another thing to remember is that like if your mid player steals the show a bit, like you can only kill the hero so much, So like sometimes like Arteezy typically has like a very high fantasy from what I remember, but like he was overshadowed by Sumail sometimes because Sumail would get so many kills. So, um, but maybe I should slap an Arteezy over here instead. Because again, IG plays Undying, which is less likely to be a crazy matchup. They play EG and they play T1. And another thing I necessarily wouldn't want to do is pick like IG players and EG. They play each other, right? So I guess I could argue that like no matter what happens, like there's a decent chance it goes to 3 games, but you can gamble, right? I could like pick an IG player and an EG player, or I could just pick one of them and hope that I win, you know? But IG plays Undying, but EG plays like 3 potentially very good teams. But Aster could be in shambles because of COVID. IG is likely quite good, and T1 is likely at least pretty good. I'm gonna swap out for Arteezy actually on that one. I'll switch out Fly for Arteezy. How good's my Arteezy card? Team fights, camp stacked. It's okay. Again, the brown cards are more important. Picking the correct heroes is more important. So I would have to look at numbers. I got so many gold socks cards while I was opening OG packs, and I just kept not getting Sumail. So I've got pretty sick crit card. No stacking there, unfortunately. Let's look at EG first. My fly card is kind of bad, but he would generally be the better one to pick because he should place more wards. There's EG. There's IG. Do I have any wards places? Oh, I do. Ollie's got a 15% bonus, and he's their 5, because Kako plays 4. So he would be a pretty decent pick for me. T1 typically plays longer games. IG's playing them. But again, IG's playing Undying, and they're playing EG. I feel pretty comfortable picking Ollie here. It's a little bit of a gamble because they play against EG, and I also picked 2 EG players. But I expect IG will do well. Hopefully not crush too hard. But again, their opponents are... Other than the Undying match, the Undying one is the one I'm most worried about as being stompy. That one scares me. And like the IG series could certainly be a 2-0 as well. T1 could also choke a bit. So should I pick? I could pick like a VP support as well. Kingslayer. I don't have any bonuses. And once again, I should always pick the best ideally. Not necessarily who has bonuses, but it's very hard not to pick bonuses, guys, I gotta say. Or I could pick an OG player. My no-tail card is pretty good. Not that great. It's okay. You know who's one of the best scorers actually for fantasy and always has been? Maposhka on Team Spirit. This guy's always been insane for wards, and I got a 10%er, which is okay. But Maposhka's always like godly. And Team Spirit's like not amazing, but they're actually pretty good. Like world class wise, they're decent. They're pretty solid. I don't think they're gonna win TI, but you know, I could see them getting like 8th place or something. That'd be really impressive for them. I don't think Avicii's on the list, right? Yeah, Vici Gaming only plays 2 series tomorrow. Undying, VP, OG, IG, EG, Alliance. I just don't know how Alliance is going to do after day 1 with no results. Like, we got to see the day 2. Day 2 we'll use more past games to like get estimations about how good teams are, but EG, IG, OG, VP. EG, IG, OG, VP. It's kind of a mediocre crit card. GPM doesn't matter, tower kills doesn't matter, first blood is random. Oh, already picked one IG. So do I want No Tail? Do I want Kingslayer? EG, IG, OG, VP. I did IG, so it's OG, EG, VP. So do I want to pick Fly? Or do I want to diversify a bit and do like Kingslayer? To double check on who plays, Kingslayer is playing OG, Undying, and Alliance, so I don't think I want to pick VP. Sorry, move this away. This is the username of the guy who made this, by the way, that's why I put it there. because I stole his work for my video. So I thought the least I could do is credit him. So definitely not VP, which means EG, IG, OG, no VP. I'm gonna do fly, I think. Let's do fly. Card is ass. Deaths, Roshan kills isn't gonna happen, and first blood is like low chance. So like this card is like legitimately like semi-useless. But I assume fives will score better than fours. It kind of remains to be seen because fours do place wards certainly right now. But obviously they don't place nearly as many wards. So we'll have to take a look at like how the stats look after the first day, because like if we looked at stat sites to see like on average, because there's more stacks right now, do fours stack more than fives? I'm not sure. I don't know what the answer to that is. I assume fours stack a little bit more, but I might be wrong. Fives maybe stack more. I don't know. So do fives stack more than fours? That's a question we need to answer after tomorrow. Do the wards that fours place offset the fact that do the less wards that fours place justify picking them over fives because they generally have better KDAs. Their death scores are better, their team fight scores are better, their kill scores are better typically. But it doesn't matter because fives typically play so many wards that they're by far in the best, like by far and away the most obvious. Another thing you can do is like look at teams to see what their distribution of wards placed are. This is something that was more important in the past because some teams fours would buy wards in addition to the fives, but now because the wards are free, I can't help but assume that the fives, I feel like fours place them more often now, so it's probably better to pick fours than it used to be. But I'll wait to see what happens after day one. These are my picks for the day. Sumail traditionally scores amazing in fantasy, much like Miracle and your other star players, Abed, etc. RTZ typically scores quite well. If EG has a really bad day tomorrow and they get O2'd in 2 series, I'm going to be still probably, without a doubt, top 25%. But probably still within top 10%. It's just with other, compared to other people on my friends list that are performing well, I probably won't be doing necessarily amazing. But yeah, these are my picks for day one. Day two, we'll adjust those based on who plays. And once again, it's going to be Elephant, Fnatic, Quincy Crew, SG, Secret, and Vici Gaming. So we'll probably pick cards from Elephant, Secret, Vici, and maybe Quincy, depending on how they all do. If it seems like they're doing well, but not too well, then we'll pick them. And we're certainly going to make mistakes, and it's going to hurt really bad, but that is fantasy, and that's how you get some free points to do your fantasy every day, guys. This unlocks soon, and even if you miss tomorrow, it's okay. You guys can easily still catch up, but group stage is a big deal. There's a lot of matches played every day group stage. There's 3 series per day for a lot of these teams. So, and when we get down to like main event, you only get to score like once or twice per team per day. So, group stage is massive. Make sure you guys participate right now. Even if you miss one day, make sure you get the other 3 days. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to catch up. But once again, even if you don't catch up, there's still a lot of points. You still get, if you do top 10% per day, you still get 800 points, which is almost a full level, which gives you treasures, right? So, and then by the end of it, even if you get top 50%, guys, that's a level and a half. If you get top 25%, you can get that missing like one day. That's three levels. So there's benefits for playing every day instead of like before where like you fuck up one day and you're like, it's not worth it anymore. You get levels every single day. And if we take a look at them, chests, basically every 2 levels is a chest. So 800 points is almost 1 level. You play 2 days, you get almost a chest every day or every other day. So do your best to play. Okay, I'm going to go watch some short films. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.